welcome to Lauren Reed Color. Thanks for joining me for today's video. Today I'm going to be participating in the Unpopular Opinions tag, which has been going around ColorTube. I just want to first of all thank Ali from Color Mama 360 for developing these questions, as well as Crystal from Casually Coloring, who has very generously tagged me. I think there might be one other person who also tagged me, but I can't remember right now. And if I do remember, I will put all of the channels in the description box. I'm also going to be taking a couple of the questions that Crystal added to Ali's questions and answering those ones as well, because I think they're really fun. As this is a chatty video, what I'm going to be doing is coloring in Mythographic Dragonspell. The page that I'm working on for the Mythographic Dragonspell group is this Dragon Eye page, and the colors I'm using are navy blue from the Monarch in the Black Widow set. It is a dark iris from the Castle Arts Harmonious, and blue mist from the Castle Arts Pastel Tints. Yeah, so I'll be using these colors. One other thing that I want to say before I get started is that the opinions that I am expressing in this video are my own, and they may or may not differ from other colorists who have participated in this tag. Regardless, I appreciate every single artist and medium that we all use, and everyone has their own preferences, and no shade on anyone or anything for what they enjoy using and coloring. So with that said, let's get started. Question number one. What's a super popular coloring book that you just don't connect with? Okay, so there are actually a couple that I can think of off the top of my head. One of those is Millie Murata's books. Simply because I really don't enjoy the Zen doodly style of coloring, and so I'm not a fan of that. However, if I had to choose only one, it would actually be Matchstick Mouse. Please do not come for me. I know that that adorable little mouse is super, super popular, but I don't have any of Morgan O'Brien's books, even though the little mouse is very cute. And the reason for this is twofold. First of all, they are published on Amazon paper, and if you know me and have watched the channel, you know that I do not enjoy coloring on Amazon paper, but even more so, I find it very repetitive. I know that there are dozens and dozens of books with this little mouse, and I find them very, very similar. So basically, if you have one, you have them all sort of feeling. I know that there are many in the coloring community who will not agree with me, and that is perfectly fine. Yeah, so Matchstick Mouse would be my answer to this particular question. Let's move on to the next one. Second question, do you prefer simple or highly detailed pages? Well, all you have to do is look at the page that I'm coloring right now, and you will know the answer to that. I definitely prefer detailed pages. So, you know, the details can be different. So, for example, I love Kirby Roseanne's. I know some people struggle with him because of the shading, but I actually find the shading quite helpful. Also, like Joseph Katzenbang, as I'm doing right now as well. So I find these kinds of coloring books with lots of the shading actually easier to color than books that have you know, more open spaces. But I also like some books that have details and open spaces. So, for example, Hannah Carlzon, her books are detailed, but she also has some open spaces for the background, for example. I really don't like the overly simplistic ones. For example, the cute and cozy, aside from the paper being not so good because they're Amazon published. I also don't really enjoy coloring those kinds of simplistic images. I've seen some absolutely gorgeous work by lots of colorists who color in them, but they're not for me. And so I don't tend to gravitate towards those kinds of books. So yeah, definitely the more detailed, the better. I definitely appreciate those kinds of pages more. Okay, next question. Do you prefer alcohol markers or colored pencils? Yeah, again, if you've watched the channel, then you should know the answer to this one as well. I am definitely a color pencil girl all the way, for a couple of reasons. First of all, I feel that color pencils, I have more control. I'm better with the layering of these kinds of pencils, and so I prefer them. I like the buildup of color that I can get. I like the slow process. I know that this is not something that everyone enjoys, but I actually like going more slowly with my pages, building up color, seeing what combinations I can get. So I really enjoy using color pencils. That isn't to say that I don't use the occasional alcohol marker. I do. For instance, this page is based with alcohol marker, as you can see. But this is one of the issues I have with alcohol marker. If you can see here, there's the streakiness. And I know that practice and working with them more will solve these issues. But for me, it's a struggle. And I can just, base with alcohol marker and then go on top with the colored pencil, and I will achieve the look that I'm working towards, rather than having to struggle with layering the alcohol markers. So yeah, definitely colored pencils for me. Okay, next question. Is it okay to have whips or no? And hold on, let me just turn this so that I can work on this side. I don't see anything wrong with having whips. I think it's a personal preference. For me, I'm sort of a completionist. So I do prefer to finish a page once I've started, but that doesn't mean that I don't have the occasional whip. So if there's, for example, a page that I'm not feeling or I'm uninspired after I've started it, I don't want to force myself to work on a page, because then that is a surefire way to get into a coloring slump. Always work on the pages that appeal to you. And if you start one and it's just not working for you, there is absolutely nothing wrong with having a whip. Yeah, so while I don't have that many whips, I think right now I have 9 whips. One of them I know is going to end up being a long-term whip, because it's one that I started in October for Halloween. I colored maybe one thing and then put it aside. So that one it's unlikely that I will get to it before next Halloween. So it is definitely going to be a long-term whip. Yeah, and but usually I do complete the pages that I start. So while I don't see a problem with having whips, I personally don't have that many. Yeah, so that's my thoughts on whips. What's the next question? Okay, the next question is, what illustrator or style is not for you? I sort of already said something about this in the first question, but Millie Murata, because I don't like the Zen Doodle, but also Layla Dooley. Her artwork is simply fantastic, but it is not something that I would enjoy coloring, because I do not really enjoy coloring flowers and leaves. So the occasional flower or leaf, like here, is not a problem. So here we have a couple of flowers, we have a couple of leaves, but they're not the entire page. So for Layla Dooley, all of her coloring books are dedicated to florals, and they are not my preferred theme to color. I prefer coloring people and animals and buildings, and yeah, the occasional flower, but on the whole, I don't really enjoy coloring flowers and leaves. And so I have to say that Layla Dooley is one illustrator that it is highly unlikely that I will ever purchase one of their books. So yeah, I have been thinking of buying a Millie Murata, because, I mean, theoretically, you could just, regular block color over the Zen Doodles, but I have so many other coloring books in my collection, and I really don't like the Zen Doodles. So, yeah, even Millie Murata is staying on my list of illustrators who don't really appeal to me. Okay, so that is the answer to that question. What's the next one? Do you think adult coloring books are becoming too repetitive? Yes and no. So, first of all, I think that artists like Maria Trolle and Johanna Basford, while they do have signature styles, and it could be that their books seem a little bit repetitive, I also see growth in their art. For example, if you take Worlds of Wonder and Enchanted Forest, you can definitely see growth in their art style. Also, Maria Trolle, there's a definite difference between, say, Sagan or fairy tales and Twilight Garden. Okay, so yes, I do see some repetition, but also progression in their art style. On the other hand, sticking with Johanna Basford, I did not purchase Magical Worlds because I felt that it was too similar to Worlds of Wonder. So I can definitely see that there is a lot of similarity there. However, that similarity is also not necessarily a bad thing, especially for beginner colorists, people who are new to the hobby and would like to get a new book. And so they can purchase a book by Maria Trolle or Hannah Carlzon or Kirby or Johanna and still get their signature style, but a new book. So in that respect, it's not a bad thing that some of the books are repetitive. However, there are books and artists that I feel are not necessarily progressing as much, or that is definitely repetitive. So the Cute and Cozy, for example, very, very repetitive. And it also might have something to do with the fact that I don't enjoy that style of coloring as well. But I feel that there's very little progression in those kinds of books. They're all very similar. You have one, you have them all. As I said, also with regard to Matchstick Mouse. Not enough variety in that kind of art. So yes and no, but that's, again, not necessarily something that's a bad thing. So let's move on to the next question. Next question is, are limited edition or difficult to find books overhyped? I think this is also one of those questions that it depends. Hold on, this pencil needs sharpening. Just give me 1 second. Okay, so as I was saying, it also depends. For example, I know that there are books that I would have loved to get that were out of print. So for example, Seasons, okay, by Hannah Carlzon was out of print, and I could see that it was available, say, on eBay, but for a ridiculous sum of money. You know, I'm not paying hundreds of dollars for a coloring book. Just let's get that out of the way immediately. And in that sense, that the idea that an out of print coloring book selling for such an exorbitant amount is just highway robbery, and to my mind, not a little bit unethical on the part of the person who is selling it. But again, not to put shade on anyone who has the money and is willing to spend it, but I am not one of those people. And then there are the books that are limited edition or only sold in certain locations. So look, the artist, the publisher, they can make their own decisions about how and where and to whom they want to publish their books. But I do think that it is a little bit unfair. So, for example, the new Mouse Guard book is only available in the United States. The Artist Vault mythographic books are only available in the United States. And coloring is an international hobby, and there are colorists from all over the world. So I'm not so sure also about the marketing strategy. You're limiting your market by doing that. And you're also causing just a little bit of ill will by doing this as well. So, yeah, I'm not a fan of that. Whether or not they're overhyped, Possibly, but again, if someone is willing to fork out the money to, purchase the book or even have it shipped to their country through a mail forwarding service. I saw that, I think it was Polly from Polly Puts the Color On. She had done this. Thank you, Polly, for showing us how it works, and kudos to you. But me personally, I think it's just a little bit expensive, and also I'm not so sure that, I would be willing to pay that amount of money for a coloring book and to have it shipped to me as well. And then, of course, there's the coloring books that are reissued. So, for example, I hope I'm not offending anyone with these opinions, but I do have some pet peeves in this area. And another one of my pet peeves is Clara Markova reissued her, I think it was Magical Delights book, which had been out of print for a long time, and you could only buy it from certain sellers. And let me just say, it was exceedingly overpriced. I've actually found it it kind of made me a little bit angry how expensive just the book was. Let's not even talk about the shipping and the geo restrictions on the shipping as well. So I think I should stop here before I say something regrettable. Yeah, suffice it to say, I was not impressed. Anyway, okay, let's move on to the next question. Okay, next question. Are color-alongs overrated or underrated? Okay, so let's put aside for a minute that I have a YouTube channel and I do some color-alongs that do not get many views because, I don't know, it seems to be a type of video that not many people are interested in watching, which is fair enough. They are also videos that take a lot of time to film, prepare for, edit, and whatnot. So I can totally understand why people don't necessarily watch them. I mean, it's not that they don't get any views. They do get views, just not as much as, say, the discussion videos or the completed pages videos or things of that nature. And then, of course, there is my take as a colorist. Okay, I personally learn a great deal from watching tutorials and from following along, especially early on in my coloring journey. I learned an amazing amount from people like Chris Cheng and Coloring with Elena and Coloring with Olivia and Emily Illustrator. I learned just oodles and oodles from them, and it has contributed to my own style immensely. Okay, I have found that recently I do tend to watch less of those because, I've developed my own style and it might be different. But every once in a while, I will go back and follow a tutorial, even if I make my own minor changes, like I'm doing one right now. I'm just following along. I also like to follow along, not in the sense of coloring in the same way, but, following along to be entertained while I'm coloring. So that's also fun. I watch them while I'm coloring the same page, not necessarily following the tutorial. But I enjoy doing that as well. So yes, I can understand why they're not everyone's favorite videos, but it is sort of disappointing at the same time because I enjoy making them and it would be great if people watch them. But and so I've sort of decided that I'm not going to make color-alongs on the channel per se. Rather, I'm going to try speed coloring videos, but primarily I will just do my Saturday snippets videos where I do color-alongs, but also chat at the same time. And people can follow along with me or just listen to me and color something else. So to each his own as well. I don't condemn anyone for doing what makes them happy or for, watching what they want to watch. So again, I do think they are slightly underrated, but I can also understand why people don't necessarily watch them all the time. What was the next question? Next question is, what is your opinion about overconsumption in the coloring world? Okay, so I'm going to say something that some people might find offensive, and that is, you live your life and you let other people live their lives, and keep your nose out of other people's expenses. Yes, if someone has the money to buy something that they want, then good for them, whatever makes them happy. I don't judge anyone for anything that they use their hard-earned money to buy. And I actually don't think that, coloring is as expensive a hobby as some other hobbies. I mean, there are people who collect vintage cars. There are people who collect vintage video games. There are people who collect stamps. There are people who, spend a fortune on fountain pens. This, whatever makes you happy. As to whether there's overconsumption, I'm sure there is. There's overconsumption in everything. That does not mean that we have the right to judge anyone for what they buy. So yeah, I will be keeping my opinions about what other people buy to myself, because that is just none of my business. Okay, so and that's all I have to say about that one. Next question. So the next two questions are questions that were added by Crystal. So I like them, and I thought I would also give my 2 cents about these 2 questions. The first one is, are PDF coloring pages better than coloring books? And again, this is a very subjective question. So for me personally, I prefer the actual coloring book 99% of the time. Okay, so I like the fact that the pages are all together and I can flip through, and I like books that have fabulous paper, much better than the paper that I could print the PDF on, and so on and so forth. So yeah, in principle, I do prefer the actual coloring book. That said, there are books that are Amazon printed with their simply atrocious paper, and I much prefer it if artists who publish through Amazon also offer their works in PDF format. So for example, R.J. Hampson and Hannah Lynn, and I'm trying to think who else offers PDF versions of their books. I'm wondering if Morgan O'Brien has PDFs. I haven't checked. He might. So yeah, so if they are Amazon published, I think it would be great if they did offer on PDF, so that those of us who are paper snobs can print the works on their own paper. I think I might not have been on camera for that. I apologize. I just put in the shading here. So as I sum up this question, I, in principle, prefer the books, but would really appreciate artists providing PDFs if they publish on Amazon. Yes, so next question. Are backgrounds a must? Okay, again, this is very subjective. There are pages that look really good even without a background. Me personally, I do prefer to put in a background. I feel that the background makes the foreground pop. And I know that, some people struggle with backgrounds. That's understandable as well. It's a technique and a style of coloring that takes some getting used to, and mastering different techniques for getting a good result. So I can understand not wanting to put one in, but me personally, 9 times out of 10, I will put in some sort of background, even if it is something, like a gradient or just an outlining, like what I'm doing right now with my crocodile on the sandbank page. I'm just putting in a soft outline around the main image, but it is a background, and I do think backgrounds are important. So yes, I do think a background is a must. Okay, so we are now entering the rapid fire or the ostensible rapid fire section of questions, true, false, but I might take a little bit longer to talk about them because, I'm chatting. Anyway, the first question is, you don't need to swatch your supplies. Oy, yes, you do. For a couple of reasons. First of all, the color on the pencil or the marker or any other supply that is on the barrel or the lead or even in a distress ink palette thingy, it's not necessarily the color that actually comes out on the page. Also, I feel that you should swatch your pencils or markers or distress inks or whatever medium you're using on the type of paper or the color of paper that you are most likely to color on. So you can also get a feel for how the medium works that way, not only the color that comes out. So that's important, especially when it comes to, budget brands. Budget brands are hardly ever the color that is on the casing. Also, I find swatching colors relaxing. I know, I'm one of these weird people.
You are one of these
Yeah, this
people.
is the roommate. Everybody say hello to Karen, the assistant. She's come to watch me.
Well, I've come to judge you. But also, I would give you 0 points because it says here true or false, but you have not put true or false in your answer. And therefore, it is incomplete.
It is false. 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 Is that she's so judgmental?
Yes, well, we all have our hobbies.
Yes. Anyway, so if I did not say false, I think I did say. Anyway, where am I? Let me make sure I'm on camera. All right, yes, so yes, indeed, you do need to swatch your supplies. Okay, true, false number 2, cute and cozy books are worth the hype. False. But again, this is my own, stop giggling, this is my own personal opinion. I know that there are many colorists who love the cute and cozy, enjoy them immensely. There is an entire trend on TikTok of this, which is perfectly fine for those people who enjoy this style. But for me, I don't get it. I think that the books are repetitive. The paper is terrible. I'm also not a marker colorist, and they are designed for people who use markers. They are just not for me. And I think that there are much better books and much better artworks. But that's just me. Again, no insult to anybody who enjoys them and loves them and finds them relaxing. But me personally, nope. Okay, next true, false. Collecting coloring books is part of the hobby. Again, it's very subjective. Me personally, I've stopped collecting. I think there was a time in the beginning when I was very much attracted to the new and shiny, and I didn't really know also my style and what I like to color. So I had quite a few books in my collection that I purchased, and also there's the fear of missing out. But I think at this point, I want to color in the books I already have. So unless it is a book that I know 100% that I am going to color the majority of the pages in, and that I do not have any other book in my collection that is similar, I'm not going to be buying any more books. I have 109, no, I think it's 110 now, 110 books in my collection, because I did get a book for review from the publisher. So I have, 110, and I'm going to try to keep it there. Also, I sort of have a personal goal of for every book I purchase, I de-stash one. So I have a list of books that I spoke about at the beginning of the year when I was talking about my goals for 2026. So I have a list of books that are untouched, and some of them have been untouched for many, many years. And I've decided that at the end of 2026, if they are still untouched, I am going to be donating them to someone who will appreciate them a lot more. So yeah, I want to keep my collection of books to a minimum and color in the books that I already have. So yes, while it is part of the hobby, I'm trying to break away from that part of the hobby. Okay, so that was that true or false question. The next true or false question is, you need social media to really be able to participate in the coloring community. And yes, I feel that is definitely true. That isn't to say that you can't color and participate if you don't have social media, but having social media makes the process a lot easier because everyone is on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or some social media platform. You can always color and email your pages to the channel that you're watching. A lot of people do that. Shell from Shell's Coloring Journey, she does that. Even me, if you want, you can send me your pages. I'd love to see them. I don't, but it's much easier for me to see them and comment on them if you have social media. So yes, I definitely think that is true. Okay, I don't want to go over that moss. All right, I think I have to turn the page around. Hold on one second. Sorry if anyone's getting dizzy. My apologies. Let's do this section over here. Oh, I'm really liking the way this is looking. Okay, next question. Coloring is not something you do at the same time as other stuff. Categorically false. I do lots of things while I'm coloring. The only thing I really can't do while I'm coloring is read because I need my eyes for that. So yes, you can definitely do other things. I listen to audiobooks. I watch YouTube. I watch TV shows. There are some TV shows that I do need to be paying more attention to. So I sometimes find that I need to rewind the show to get what I've missed, or I need to stop coloring to pay attention to what's in the show. But on the whole, there are lots of shows that I can color and I can watch at the same time. So definitely. Another hobby that I have that I can't do at the same time as coloring is playing video games. It depends on what the other stuff is. If it's watching TV, listening to music, listening to audiobooks, then definitely you can color at the same time. If it's playing games, reading actual physical books, doing puzzles, these are stuff that you cannot do while coloring. But other things, go for it. Okay, next true or false question. Budget supplies are just as good as artist quality. Oh, I'm afraid not. While you can get lovely results with budget pencils, absolutely, and I have several pages that I've done using budget supplies that are absolutely gorgeous, you can't get exactly the same results as, say, using a polychromos or a luminance pencil, or Caran d'Ache Neocolors work in a completely different way to, say, the tempera paint sticks or the King Art crayons. It's just not the same experience, and the results are also not exactly the same. The results using quality supplies are better. Also, I feel that the process of coloring is better. You don't have to struggle as much with quality supplies to get the effect that you're looking for. So yeah, while you can get gorgeous effect even with Crayola Super Tips, yes, you are not going to get the same results exactly. In fact, I think I have missed out on a question. One of the questions that I missed out on was, what's one popular supply you don't think is worth the money? So sorry for that. I'm doing this one out of order because I forgot and I've only remembered now because of this true-false question. Anyway, so yeah, the one coloring supply that I feel is not worth the money is distress inks. I had them. I struggled with them. They dried out very quickly. I think it's because I live in a hot climate. And yeah, and you can get the same effects using watercolor and glycerin. I have a video on my channel if you're interested on how to use watercolor and glycerin to get the same effect that you can get with distress ink. So yeah, that's the coloring supply that I feel is definitely not worth the money. And they're so expensive. Really. Yeah. That's a no for me. Okay, next one. The quantity of completed pages compromises the quality. Again, this is up to the individual colorist. Me personally, I would rather finish fewer pages and dedicate a lot of time and effort to getting them the way that I want them to look, rather than finishing lots of pages. Nevertheless, I know colorists who have colored fabulous pages and still manage to finish way more than me. But again, that is completely subjective. It is up to the colorist to decide for themselves what they consider a completed page. So I do not judge, but me personally, I do feel that if I spent less time on a page so that I could get more pages done, the quality of my coloring would go down. Okay, but that isn't to say that that is the case for other people. Okay, so that's my opinion on that one. And then there are a couple that Crystal added. So the next one, social media creates unrealistic coloring expectations. Oh yes, you betcha. There are some colorists out there who are out of this world. They are artists. They are people who have spent, their career is as an artist, or they have spent decades with art and are applying all of their techniques and their methods and their training. Some of them have gone to art school to their coloring, and their work is out of this world. And it is impossible for someone who does not have that kind of background, that kind of training, to achieve the same results as these semi or even totally professional artists. Okay, that isn't to say that we can't learn techniques, we can't get better. You should see my early coloring. We won't talk about it. My early coloring was the pits, but I watched tutorials, I learned techniques, I developed a style, my coloring got better, and it's a process. It's still getting better. I'm still improving. Whether or not I will ever be as good as some of these amazing colorists whose work I see on Instagram and other social media is up for debate. But I enjoy coloring. This is my hobby. It's for me, and I enjoy my pages. And if they don't look exactly like a work of art, that is fine. I enjoyed coloring it. It's for me and not for anyone else. So just because some colorist has a gorgeous page does not mean that A, you should stop coloring, or B, that at some point you can't achieve beautiful coloring yourself, because you can. Anybody can. Anybody can learn. Coloring is a skill that can be improved with time and practice and learning. Okay. Off the soapbox on that one. Let's go to the next question. Hold on, I need to sharpen my pencil. 1 second. Okay, the next question is sort of related, and that is coloring should be more about fun than technique. And continuing on from where I left off with the previous question, yes, enjoying it, relaxing with it, having fun playing with your toys, your watercolors, your markers, your pencils is far more important than coming up with some sort of technique that works and will get you, I don't know, lots of likes. Absolutely. You enjoy what you do. And if you also manage to learn a cool technique along the way, good for you. And if not, and if you've had a good time, and if coloring has helped you, that is all that matters. Okay? Nothing else matters than enjoying this hobby and, having fun with it. So absolutely, I do think that having fun is more important than learning new techniques or mastering new techniques or things like that. That doesn't mean you can't have fun while you learn new techniques or master new techniques. To each his or her or their own. And last but not least, you should only buy books you plan to color soon. Again, this is sort of related to the earlier question. I have books in my collection that are uncolored, and I've had them for years, as I said before, and I plan to color in them. And if I don't, some of them are going to be destashed, and some of them might not be destashed. We will see at the end of the year. But I cannot say that I only buy books that I plan to color in soon. It could be that I will buy a book and it will be on my shelf for a few months, and then I will color in it. So I'm going to say that one's false. You do not have to only buy books that you plan to color in soon. You can buy any book you like whenever you like. So I think those are all of the questions. Let's see what we've got so far on this page. It's almost done in terms of this layering of pencil. Maybe I will just finish this section on the camera in case anybody wants to see what it looks like when it's done. So I will just do these last little bits while I have you with me. Do I want to talk about anything else? I don't think so. I just want to say, that I love coloring. I love our community. I think we are special. I love each and every person who watches the channel and gives me a like or a comment. You are what makes our channel. You are what makes our community so special. And I hope that never changes because it is really unique. I don't think there is another community anywhere who is as welcoming, as warm, as caring as our lovely community. I hope that that never changes. Okay, so where else do I have some of the shading? As you can see with this page, I've been going along with Joseph's shading throughout all of these scales for this dragon. Yeah. But you can also, put some shading even where he hasn't put shading, like around the leaves. Almost done. And then I will zoom out and we can take a look at it. It's still obviously going to have quite a lot more shading on these scales. It's the shading on them is not done. I've just put in the darker shadow areas. And I'm going to go in with a lighter color and fill. Oops, I broke my pencil. And that's my sign to stop. Okay, so this is what the page looks like. Thank you everyone for joining me as I have expressed my opinions about all of these topics in our fabulous community. I hope you enjoyed the video, and don't forget to leave a comment if you want to say anything about my opinions. I'd love to hear what you have to say. So looking forward to seeing you all again sometime soon. Bye for now.